Hey everybody, it's Ron from Ron's Basement. Thank you for joining me today. I am tired of hearing people say that Dan Wilton and First Mining Gold and Keith Neumeyer, that they did a bad deal when they sold their Pickle project to Auticos Minerals, which is an Australian company. That happened about a year and a half ago, and Auticos had some great success kind of further developing and exploring that property, which is great. That's great for Auticos, and guess what? It's also great for First Mining Gold. Now, sure, with the benefit of hindsight, anybody can look back and say, well, if we'd known that it was going to be so great, well, we didn't know that it was going to be so great when it happened. And nonetheless, Dan and Keith, and I presume primarily Dan, did a great job structuring the deal so that First Mining Gold shareholders will benefit from the success of Auticos. So I've got some notes here on the back of the napkin. The first thing we need to figure out is what is the 20% interest, because First Mining Gold will retain a 20% interest in the Pickle mine, the Pickle development, okay? We know that 80% of it is worth what the market cap of Auticos is right now, which is roughly 170 million. If you do some simple algebra, you can figure out then that the 20% interest in that same mine is worth about $43 million, okay? Next, this is very important to remember. On top of that, and independently of that, First Mining Gold currently owns 7.5% of Auticos, of the company, of the stock, okay? So if we multiply 7.5% times $170 million, this is all US dollars, by the way, we come to another 13 million. We also have to factor in that Auticos will need to pay another $4 million in cash throughout the different levels of this deal as they earn into their 80% ownership. So they still owe First Mining another $4 million. And there's a royalty. And that royalty can rather conservatively be valued at $10.5 million. If you add those numbers together, they magically come to 70 million. So right now, by signing this partnership, by doing this deal with Auticos, Dan has unlocked almost $70 million in value for First Mining Gold. And that is, look, these numbers are mildly rough, I'll say, but they've been to a certain degree sprinkled with conservatism also. So I think you can confidently say that they've unlocked $70 million in value by signing the deal with Auticos Minerals. So I'm tired of hearing people say, oh, it's a bad deal, oh, it's a bad deal. Well, no, they're retaining 20%. They own 8% of the company. They're going to get a royalty for sure, and they're getting more cash. Now, that begs the second question. How undervalued is First Mining Gold? If we know that the Pickle project is worth $70 million to First Mining, and we know that the total First Mining market cap is $220 million, what makes up that $150 million difference? And it's crazy that the market is giving a $150 million valuation to, let me go through the list, First Mining's 100% owned Springpole project, which has a 5 million ounce roughly gold and about $1 billion net present value. They also own 15% of Treasury metals, which is probably worth about $13 million right now on the publicly traded markets. They own 20% of Big Ridge Mining, which is the company that they signed another partnership with on their Newfoundland project, and they'll retain 20% of an interest in the Newfoundland mines. They own 100% of Cameron, which is another 1 million ounce project, which is very prospective in terms of exploration. They own 100% of some properties in Quebec with another 1 million ounces of gold. They've got a ton of cash, and they've got some other marketable securities. That, my friends, is worth more than $150 million. Not to mention, the CEO, Dan Wilton, has 5 million shares of the company, and the chairman, Keith Neumeyer, has 15 million. And the chairman, Keith Neumeyer, is a very well-respected individual in the precious metals mining sector. Okay, this guy does not have a history of, shady deals. He has a history of increasing wealth for his shareholders. Again, the CEO, Dan Wilton, has 5 million shares, many of which were bought with his own money. He's invested. He has skin in the game. I think that First Mining is going to do very well on a long-term basis. I mean, how does this even make sense, right? We know that Pickle Crow's worth $70 million. We know the market cap of the company is $220 million. How can you cram that list of 5 projects and a bunch of cash into the valuation, into $150 million? I mean, $1 billion net present value on Springpole, that alone, you have a very tough time cramming down to $150 million. But then you've got Treasury Metals, and hey, that's super prospective. I mean, the new Jeremy Wyatt, the new CEO, the team he's put together, I mean, that 15% ownership level could easily triple or quadruple in value over the coming years. Big Ridge, I mean, come on, that's Newfoundland. We own 20% of this project, plus 20% of the company that's doing the project. That could easily turn into another Pickle Crow. I mean, think if, Treasury Metals and Big Ridge in Newfoundland turn out to be Pickle Crows. That's, 3 projects at $70 million. Oh, that eats up the total current market cap of the company. And we're still not talking about Springpole or Cameron, which is, again, highly prospective. That could easily turn into another Pickle Crow or more, or Quebec, or the fact that they're sitting on, I think, $35 million in cash. I mean, it's crazy. You just can't cram those Springpole, Treasury Metals, Big Ridge, Cameron, Quebec, and the cat. You can't cram that into $150 million. You just can't do it. Well, unless you buy the stock today, then you can do it. But eventually the market's gonna kind of, wise up to this situation, and you're not going to be able to buy First Mining gold at these current prices. Now, I could be wrong, and I'm not recommending you make any financial decisions based upon what I just said. But when I look at this thing, and I'll tell you, part of the challenge, which is also part of the opportunity, is there's a lot of pieces. It takes a person with a considerable level of intellectual horsepower to have the interest and ability to be able to figure this out and to be able to see the forest through the trees. Now, again, maybe I'm hallucinating, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think, when you look at the guy that started the company, Keith Neumeyer, and who's the chairman of the company, okay, check him out. Check out his background. Most of you already know what I'm talking about. And he's got 15 million shares. And you look at Dan Wilton, and you look at the job that Dan's done over the last 2.5 years, structuring these deals, doing his best to simplify and streamline what was a very, you could say chaotic portfolio of projects. You know, if you put the time in and you think about this and you look at it, in my opinion, it looks like a good deal. Hey, I could be wrong. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed my video and have a good day.